An ancient order. During the Great Crusade, the emperor kept a standing battalion of the Silent Sisterhood within his personal armies. They were tasked with hunting and exterminating those who would use their psychic talent against the Imperium during the wars for compliance. Since that time, the remit of the Null Maidens has demanded that they wage near constant war. The Sisters of Silence are rare pearls in the limitless ocean of humanity. Each sister is one in a trillion, for the mental architecture of those who harbor the pariah gene is nothing like that of the common herd. They have only a startling void in place of that emotive, spiritual core that empowers and guides a typical human. No simple absence is this, but a hungry, sucking abyss that makes even the spiritually inert feel unsettled and nauseous. It is this anomaly that makes the sisters the bane of warlocks and daemons alike. The emperor once referred to this quality as a rare gift within his most esoteric servants, but in many ways it is an alienating, inescapable affliction. Yet in a galaxy where the shadows of mankind's worst successes are given physical form, it is indeed a precious resource. The sacrifice these pariahs make is profound, but without it, humanity may well have consumed itself long ago. Mankind's surety of purpose, restored by the tremendous success of the Great Crusade, was shaken to its core by the treachery of the War Master. The corruption Horus spread through the legions Astartes eroded the imperial truth, the secular wisdom laid down by the emperor that saw the furtherance of logic and science outlaw the concept of supernatural entities. The emperor knew of the powers that haunted mankind, and had long sought to starve them of influence by denying their existence altogether. Part of this strategy was the manipulation of the pariah gene, an extremely rare genetic anomaly that broke the link between the immaterium and the material universe. Even the presence of a single pariah is an ice-cold blanket over the fires of the soul, a suffocating chill that can turn a nigh impotent psyker into a weakling ripe for slaughter. It was not through fear of his own boundless psychic talents that the emperor waged his war of atheism, but through hope for a galaxy of order and reason. He resolutely denied his own godhood, even if it meant the most dire censure for his subjects. To openly admit that there were psychic entities in the universe was to open a channel that the foolish and the greedy would seek to exploit. He was right to do so. As the legions of Astartes began to fracture, the worship of Horus's new god saw many psychers treat with demonic forces, creatures coalesced from mankind's dark reflections within the Empyrean. Some did so unwittingly, and the resultant manifestations tore tiny holes in the fabric of real space, holes that the fiends lurking behind the veil would gladly rip wider. Others deliberately opened such gates, dooming entire worlds to demonic invasion. Perhaps the most infamous example of loyal psychers turning against the edicts of the emperor was that of the Thousand Sons. The warrior mystic's homeworld died in flames after a punitive strike from the Space Wolves, the Custodian Guard, and the Silent Sisterhood, who, by their very presence, forced the Thousand Sons to stop their use of outlawed magic. Such was their zeal and focus during the Horus heresy. The Sisters of Silence had been given unprecedented autonomy. They are trusted implicitly by the High Lords of Terra, for those deaf to the whispers of the warp are amongst the most reliable of agents. Theirs is the duty of monitoring the masses via a network of trusted agents within the Adeptus Astra Telepathica. They then hunt down any untrained or rogue psychers they find, often alongside the Inquisition and the infamous hunter squads of the Black Ships. There are few other roles members of the sisterhood could fulfill, for their talent is inescapable and magnified by the emperor's ancient artifice. Though they are trained to control their unsettling auras, projecting them until it becomes difficult to even look upon them, or suppressing them at need, the sisters can never truly be rid of their genetic curse. After the War Master's rebellion was halted at Terra, and the Emperor was interred upon his golden throne, the Sisters of Silence found themselves without direction. Many were slain or lost forever, scattered and stranded across a war-ravaged galaxy. Undaunted by the sudden lack of guidance, they went abroad into the wider Imperium to continue their work. There, amongst the stars, they hunted savants and witches with unstinting fervor, some as part as the Adeptus Astra Telepathica, some as lone but loyal agents who eventually settled within the teeming hordes of humanity. In some rare cases, these hunters learned to suppress their uncanny auras to some degree, and in living alongside others begot their own bloodlines. None of these would-be settlers ever stayed in one place for long, for the pariah gene is not named idly. Wherever the Sisters of Silence sought out new lives, they were hounded into exile once more by those that hated them for their intrinsic otherness. Still, not all were reviled or burned as witches. The offspring of these few had children of their own, and over the generations, the genetic peculiarity of the silent sisterhood found its way further into the vast spread of the human race. The Sisters of Silence have banded together, but rarely since their devolution at the end of the Horus Heresy, with each major instance of their gathering for war expunged from the imperial records. Even then, their various orders remained divided by necessity, gathering only in secret. In the years since, their numbers have grown, gradually but steadily, into tens of thousands. Now the sisterhood is a vast army of psychic nulls, standing ready to extinguish the dark flames of chaos that threaten to consume the Imperium.